Greetings, Taku Faithful. Thank you for joining me again this week. Once again, it's Larry Williams, OAW Commander-in-Chief, and I'm here to bring you all my review of the Black Sails Season 1 finale right here on Otaku Assemble Weekly. And as always, I'm here to bring you the latest in this week's Black Sails episode review. And this is my review of Season 1, Episode 8, the Season 1 finale. Now, general thoughts on the finale. Hands down, best episode of the season. Hands down, best episode of the season. I like how every storyline was addressed, how nothing was absolutely resolved. But I think one of the main things I really enjoyed about the finale, in hindsight, is the fact that instead of setting a lot of new stuff up for the second season, they decided, like I mentioned before, not to fully resolve anything that was already going on, and then to leave us at a point that feels more like just the ending of a chapter rather than the ending of a book. Like, it really does feel like when Season 2 kicks off, we're picking right back up where we left off. You know, no time skips, not a bunch of new characters being added, none of that. We are literally, okay, this is where we left off. This is where we're gonna pick right back up, and I really like that. It's also the same thing. Granted, I haven't done my review for Da Vinci's Demon Season 1 yet. That'll actually be up next week. But it was the same comment I made about the Da Vinci Demon Season 1 finale. How the point where it ends and that cliffhanger, that suspense, that we pick right back up with the second season. So I like that Black Sails decided to take that same route. Really dug it. I like how suspenseful the episode was, because there was a lot of things that just came out of nowhere. You know, the surprises. But at the same time, and that's another thing. I even like how the relationships sort of came full circle. You know, how those ended. I thought that was really interesting. So let me go ahead and dive further into some of these things I'm talking about. So the first thing I want to talk about is everything that happened on the island. Everything that happened on the Sao. Vane's return. I mean, of course, you know, it was a cool sequence, you know, him and his new crew getting off of the rowboats and, you know, storming into the town. But it wasn't until, you know, the guns fired at the fort. I was like, wait, what the hell just happened? Then I was like, oh shit, they took the fort. And you know what? That was the best play. And I totally didn't expect it. But yeah, Vane was right. Whoever controls the fort controls the bay, and whoever controls the bay controls the ships, and whoever controls the ships controls the commerce. So yeah, I mean, you know, I was thinking that Vane was just gonna march into, you know, Eleanor's office and, you know, start making demands and whatnot because he had the manpower to do so. Screw that. He went straight for the big guns. Literally went straight for the firepower. And yeah, that was brilliant. Genius. That was genius on his part. Now, this is the thing about Vane's return that I couldn't help but kind of raise an eyebrow at, kind of raise my nose at, was how, once again, talking about these relationships that kind of, you know, that kind of came full circle, kind of took these turns. Vane taking out everything that happened during his absence out on Rackham, I thought was unfair. We're talking about shit that Bonny set into motion that Rackham didn't even know about until after the fact. And then earlier in the episode, she even chews him out over some of the shit that's not even his fault, only to have Vane threaten to kill him and then kick him out of the crew indefinitely, making sure that he never crews up with anybody else, you know, being stuck, cooped up, kind of exiled to the brothel for shit that wasn't even his fault. No, that's bullshit. I'm sorry, that's bullshit. And I felt bad for Rackham after that, man. I was like, hang on a minute. Bonnie was the one who started all this shit, and he's the one who takes all the blame. That's fucked up. But then again, I guess Vane saw it more as, you're supposed to be quartermaster, so you're supposed to be the one in charge of the crew. Regardless of what's happening, you're the one that I kind of left in charge. So maybe that's what it was, but I thought that whole thing was bullshit. And yeah, and then of course even Bonnie, even Bonnie, the way she lashed out at Rackham, I was like, what the fuck is this chick's problem? And even like, and that exchange, I'm sorry, that scene said it all. Rackham's in the bathtub, and him and Bonnie are going back and forth, and he's like, wait a minute, so you get mad at me when we had her on the beach and the crew's taking advantage of her, despite the fact that you put her there in the first place, and you get mad at me because I didn't do anything about that. And then when we do get her out and we bring her back here, and now that she's helping me turn a profit for the fucking business, and all the other men have been taken out because you and Eleanor teamed up over that shit, now you're getting mad because she's back? What the fuck? And oh god. I could really go at length about that whole thing, and I'm trying so hard. I'm bear with me, guys, because I'm trying really hard not to generalize, not to stereotype, not to pretty much jump on the writer's ass for writing Bonnie as that angry, unrational, silent, stuck-up, stereotypical bitch. But the whole time I'm watching that scene, you know what kept ringing out at me? I don't know if any of y'all have seen The Notebook. I haven't. But there's a meme, a video / meme that a buddy of mine posted on Facebook this past week, and it's the scene where Ryan Gosling's talking to what's her face, and he kept saying, it's like, what do you want? What do you want? And she's like, I don't know. And he's like, oh, God damn it, what do you want? And the whole time, Rackham and Bonnie are going back and forth. That's what I kept saying. It's like, what do you want? What do... Okay, I'm going to leave it at that. So anyway, so now that getting back into Vane's, his going back into his whole takeover, man, it's going to be real interesting in season 2 to see how all this plays out, because we know Horny Gold is already pissed off because that was pretty much his, that was his fort. That was pretty much his firepower. Now, yeah, Horny Gold still has a shit ton of manpower, but the rug's been pulled out from under him because Eleanor went ahead and told Vane about his, sort of his plan to take back the fort. So now he's kind of just an escrow, if you will. So it'll be real interesting to see how that whole thing's going to play out in season 2, because he's not just going to let that stand. He's not just going to let Vane take the fort and not do anything about it. And I even suspect that he might finally decide to turn on Eleanor because she let it happen. Now, yeah, you can go ahead and you can argue she didn't have a choice and this, that, and the other. I don't think Horny Gold will see it that way. Even in the scene where she's telling Horny Gold speaking back to him the same advice he told her, I don't think he's just going to let that slide. And yeah, and maybe that, that civil war that's kind of been looming in the second half of the season in the South, maybe that'll finally spark once Horny Gold decides to go toe-to-toe with Vane. So we'll see what happens. Let me see, what else what else did I want to talk about? Okay, yeah. before I jump into the whole Urca hunt, I said Urca. Thank you. Anyway, before I get into that, I do want to comment on the scene between Max and Eleanor. That was probably one of my favorite scenes in the finale, and it spoke volumes, but I still don't know. I really want to know what to make of that, and I really want to know where their relationship stands after this, because it would seem as if Max has forgiven Eleanor for what she did, and she even thanks her for teaching her that lesson about allowing other people to stand in the way of your ambitions. But I don't know if that's a... First off, I don't know if that was sincere. And I don't know if that is... I don't know. Can I get some fucking background music? Because I'm just hearing nothing but silence in the background. It's freaking me out. Anyway, but the point I'm trying to make is, I don't know if Max thanking Eleanor, if that was even sincere. I think that might have had more to do with Max letting Eleanor know that she's no longer affected by it, and sort of her kind of accepting her current situation, looking back on the whole thing as, wow, I'm now better off than I was before. But I couldn't help but think that there was a bit of a threat there. Because she told her, she says, never let anyone stand between you and your ambitions. And it did come across more as kind of like she was poking at her, because she told her, she says, now you have everything you want, which is a lie, because Eleanor doesn't. But I couldn't help but get the feeling that was a loaded comment. You know what I mean? That Max either wants something else, or I don't want to say that she wants to get back at Eleanor, because I don't think she's vindictive enough for that. But you do get the sense that there's something behind those words, something else that she wants. And I think she's going to use Eleanor to get it, if that makes any sense. I know that's a really vague speculation, but that's what it felt like to me. That's what it felt like. But yeah, I thought it was very interesting, and yeah, and Eleanor's reaction during that scene, priceless, because she couldn't say shit about it. She couldn't, because here it is. She couldn't do shit. She really couldn't. And I'm glad that scene happened in the finale, and I'm glad it took place the way it did and when it did. So yeah. All right, now let's talk about the Urca hunt, because that whole thing was just that whole thing was just a fucking dynamite ready to explode. Because we knew from the end of last week's episode that tensions were high. We knew that at any moment the mutiny could happen. We knew that they were planning on moving against Flint as soon as they got the Urca. I mean, we knew that was coming. But to have, first off, to have Gates and Flint confront each other on the Warriors before they even saw the Urca, that was surprising. Flint killing Gates after he confronted him, that wasn't surprising, because I knew the second he confronts him, that's when Flint's gonna kill him. But the biggest surprise, hands down, was when Dufresne and DeGroot went ahead and decided to confront Flint in front of the crew before they even secured the Urca. That didn't make a lick of sense. And it's like, wow, you guys are really cutting off your nose to spite your face. At that point, it's like, so the money must not even matter. it's like the money must not have even mattered. And the thing was, you couldn't say that, oh, it's because the Urca wasn't on the water, so they doubted Flint and this, that, and the other, because even though Flint at the moment, even though Flint's call about the Urca might have been wrong, his call about the Spanish ship was not. That was an escort, and based off of how he changed the plan at the last minute when he was relaying the information to Silva, who was, parlaying with the captain of the Spanish ship, Flint was right, because the ship went straight past him. So up to that point, Flint's plan was still holding up. So for them to go ahead and try to incite the mutiny then, I thought that was suicide. That made, I was like, wow, so y'all just gonna go ahead and give up on the Urca. That's it. You know what's really funny though? I wonder how the crew of the Ranger would have reacted to it once they found out, that the mutiny took place. Because I'm almost positive they don't have a fucking clue what was going on. And then lo and behold, Flint and Silva were right. They were just wrong about, what happened with the storm, because the Urca crashed on shore. And that's why they didn't see the ship on the water. Oh man, but I just love that closing scene when Flint's looking through the scope and he gets that look in his face like, I'm gonna take that money. I'm gonna get that money, man. I was like, oh God. Whew, cannot wait for the second season. And yeah, and I'm pissed as hell because now we gotta wait a whole year for the next season. Granted, season 2 it's already been renewed for a second season. I found out last week it got renewed during Comic-Con when they screened it, and it got good reception. Then they renewed it for a second season before it even premiered. So we're getting a second season. I'm just pissed off we gotta wait a year for it now. But oh man, so good, so good. And I can keep talking. I really could, cause man, the battle sequence. When they're firing on the Spanish ship, and then the ship sunk went ahead and sunk the Walrus, and man, it was so good. It was so good. It was so good. All right. And this same song is still fucking playing. God damn. Anyway. So yeah, that's gonna pretty much wrap up my thoughts on the finale. I guess I can go ahead and just wrap this review up with final thoughts on the season. Damn good season, and a really good start to the series. I'm not sure what the sea legs on this, or what the sea legs on this series is. It's too early to make a call if it'll go for 2 seasons, if it'll go for 3 seasons, or anything like that. But they've definitely done enough in terms of story, in terms of character development, in terms of intrigue, in terms of references, world building, all the things they referenced, all the people, all the crews, all the ships, all these bigger picture things that have been mentioned in passing. They've done a great job at setting all that stuff up. And to say that they did so in only 8 episodes, that's just a credit to the writers and their ability to compose and compact and fit everything in, piece it together so well. All in all, really solid start to the series. Really solid. I would even go as far as to argue there's not a bad episode in the season. There isn't. No, it's all good. So for those of you all who have yet to check out the series, I highly recommend it. And yeah, to say that we're only 3 months into 2014, definitely one of my new favorite series. Definitely. And I will be back to review it next season. Guarantee that. So That's going to wrap up this review. In the comments below, let me know your thoughts, both on the finale and some of your predictions, expectations, or just some of the things you guys want to see in season 2. Where do you think where do you think they're going to take the story next? What characters or historical figures do you guys think might pop up, or that you would like to see pop up? What story angles would you like to see get implemented in the series? What relationships and whatnot would you guys like to see more of, or see, resolved differently, or anything like that? Share all your thoughts in the comments below. Now, since Black Sails has concluded for the season, what can you expect next Saturday on the OAW YouTube channel? I will be picking up Da Vinci Demons weekly episode reviews. Next Friday, you guys will see my season 1 review, and then when season 2 premieres on Saturday, I'll go ahead and start kicking it off. Weekly episode reviews. Keep an eye out tomorrow for Advice Corner, and then later in the week for my other videos. With that being said, this has been Larry Williams, OAW Commander-in-Chief, signing off, and until next time, peace.